We had our regular show on the train, but there were times that we realized we needed to change what we were doing. So our show on the train was normally pretty scripted. We had variations of it that we could do, but we generally, if we had a short show, because we were running trains every 20 minutes, or a longer show every 30 minutes, we generally stayed within a pretty set script that gave us a few options, a few things to change up, a few things we could adjust and play with. But we pretty much stayed in this normally set routine. However, there were definitely times that we changed it up, that we did things or didn't do things and had to adjust our show based on what was going on. So during our show, the robbers and the conductor are up on the stage, the field, whatever you want to call it. It was a stage, but it wasn't a stage. We would have to keep an eye out on a number of different things and then make adjustments based on that. One of the biggest things that we made adjustments for was the reaction of the people on the train. If they were reacting, if they were getting into the show, we were more likely to do some extra stuff. Whereas if they were dead and didn't care for whatever reason, then we were likely to cut it out. Good example is during summer, because it is so hot. People don't want to be sitting on the train. They're just sitting there. They're steaming. They're hot. They're boiling. They're not happy just sitting there. It's like, there's no breeze from the train. And so they're kind of miserable. So during days like that, it was not unusual for us to shorten up the show, because if they're not having a good time, we don't want to torture them any more than necessary. So we'd shorten the show up and get them out of there so that way they weren't sitting there miserable. On the opposite end of the spectrum, there was just something about Moonlight Madness when we had the late night trains. People at night suddenly had this extra burst of energy. It was a different atmosphere, and we were liable to throw a bunch of other extras in. And even though we were supposed to be running 20-minute trains, or 30-minute trains if we lined up, our shows tended to run a little long because the people were just having so much fun and so into it that we'd start throwing all sorts of extras in them and repeating things that got a good laugh, and we'd get the trains involved. In particular, we had one routine that really showed up during Moonlight Madness. Our normal show was what we call the Hey, Hey, Hey.
Well, how you know they're me? Well, Ralphie and I, we sneaked up on them. We heard them talking. Well, what'd they say? Tell them, Ralph. Is it, woo! Yeehaw! Hey, hey, hey.
During Moonlight Madness, we would often instead do what I called the cheerleader routine, the back up the train. And it involves Alfie and Ralphie doing this goofy little cheer.
Yeah, you gotta go up there and fight them. Fight them? Fight them, you know, F-I-T. Fight them! Fight them! Fight them! Fight them! Fight, fight, fight! Push them back, way back! Woo!
During nighttime, that routine got more laughs, more cheers, and we would get the train just laughing and hooping it up and end up doing the cheer a couple times sometimes.
Fight up! Fight up! Fight, fight, fight! Fight up! Push them back, way back! Push them back, way back! Rock! Stop! Do a hall call. No. Push them back, way back! Rock! Woo! All right. One more time! Push them back, way back!
So we adjusted constantly based on the crowd. If we saw something happening on the train, we would probably adjust our show as well. There were a couple times during our show that we had to kind of call out somebody, hey, sir, you need to sit down because we don't want you falling off. So we did watch the crowd for misbehavior and things that they shouldn't be doing, as well as people that we might interact with. One of the very first things we would do if it was a longer show is as soon as the train's pulling in, we're already looking to see who our ma is going to be. who looks like they would be sitting in the right spot and the right attitude. But we also watched to see, okay, who could possibly be a troublemaker, who could be an issue. If we had somebody that thought they were really smart and shouting out lines ahead of time, we would adjust the show. We had a couple times, so we had people that just didn't get it that they weren't being funny. And then you kind of call them out. You know, hey, sir, we're the ones up here doing the show, not you. If you want to get a job, you can. Shut up. Hecklers like that were annoying. They're never as funny as they think they are. They think they're being smart and cool. And so we would basically humiliate them. Call them out, let them know they're being dumb, and then do something to let them know how dumb they really were. But the biggest thing that would cause adjustments, weather. Absolutely. I mentioned the heat, but rain would also cause us to shorten shows if we did them. If it was raining hard, we didn't do a show. We might step out and wave, but otherwise, we would radio in and let the engineer and conductor know, hey, it's raining too hard. Roll through. But if it was a light rain, misty, sprinkling, we'd do a show in that. And we'd rob them, but we would keep it short, because if there's water starting to drip off of the top of the train cars, that means it's dripping onto the people on the train. All right, let's keep it short. Let's get them out. And we had a couple times... We definitely had a couple times when we were out doing the show, nice and dry, and then partway through the show, it started to rain. Oh my goodness. I had one time, I'm trying to remember who I was robbing with, but I was out there and it was just a torrential downpour. Halfway through the show, boom, here it comes, and we were just getting ready to go down and rob the train, and it starts raining hard. And so we kind of yell up, hey, Mr. Conductor, come up here and shoot us. And we go. And I mean, it got a big laugh of the people on the train. But it was definitely, nope, we don't want to be out here robbing. Get out here, shoot us, get out. So we did have a couple times we cut it short because of rain. But the biggest thing that would happen that would cause us to adjust our show is something happening in the park. If we're robbing the show, the conductor and the two robbers don't have radios on. We don't know what's going on. So the engineer up at the front becomes our eyes and ears. And if something's going on in the park, they're the ones that will let us know. And it could mean if an ambulance came in the park, for example, for whatever reason, the ambulance would usually come in through a back entrance, and the way they would come into the park itself is actually across the tracks over near the roundhouse. So if we had an ambulance in the park because somebody had gotten sick or something like that, we couldn't take the train through because you didn't want ambulance and train going across the same crossing. So the engineer may start signaling us to stretch the show. Or if they know that one's coming and they've been told, hey, ambulance is going to be here in 5 minutes. All right, we can get out of here. The engineer will start signaling. Get it out, get it done. And if we're just oblivious, they may ring the bell real quick to kind of let us know, hey, I'm signaling you, something going on here. That was probably the biggest thing we had, is there'd be a handful of times a year that an ambulance would have to come out because somebody got sick usually. They'd be out there to pick up whoever, and we would have to adjust the show and either shrink it down, basically, all right, get out of here, or lengthen it up. Weather would also do that too. If they got a weather alert while we were doing the show that there was lightning coming in and they were going to have to shut down, here we go. Ding, ding, lightning, cut it down. Or the other thing they could do is they could actually hold out fingers and let us know what weather phase we were on, and that we needed to get moving. That happened a few times where we were watching weather and we're kind of going, Arr! We did have lightning a couple times while doing the show. And generally, if lightning's within a few miles, we're not supposed to be doing it. But every now and then, this bolt would crack across the sky, and we're like, yep, we're done. The park may not have called us down for lightning yet, but we're calling it down. And we would shorten the show up really quick, get them out. And the few times that happened, almost invariably, as they were pulling out or on the way, you could then hear on the radio, we're down for lightning. No joke. But because the robbers were out in the woods as opposed to in the park, we sometimes had a little bit different feel for weather than they did in the park. But those were the big things that would make us change. Weather, the great crowd on the train, or if there was something going on in the park that they had to move the train for or make it sit. And if it sat, well, we learned to entertain. We do the show. We throw in all sorts of extras. We'd extend it. We stretch it. We make up stuff. And sometimes we had a handful of times that the train just sat there because they couldn't go. And we did everything we could. We finished the show. We got shot. I don't know what else to do. We've been entertaining you. We did a 10-minute show in 25, 30 minutes. And at this point, the people on the train are going, what's going on? So then we would let them know, hey, folks, train is down because we've got something in park or there's something else that's causing us to sit and wait. So as soon as we can get you clear, well, we will. But in the meantime, and we start telling riddles and jokes. Hey, who on the train has a funny story or a joke to tell? And we would do everything we could to entertain them. You got a riddle? What you got? And we would do dumb stuff like, why does a gorilla have a big nose? Because it's got big fingers. Kids jokes. And yes, I told that one a lot out there. And you stretch until you get the clear and then you can get them out again. Did not want to break character. Did not want to, hey, sorry, here's reality intruding upon it. But we did at times. Hey, anybody on the train got a birthday? Whatever we could come up with. And we would just start making it up on the spot. Yeah, those were always interesting times. Thankfully, didn't have them very often, but we did have a few that would stretch. And I think the longest we kept a train out there was about an hour. That was rough. And we were just about started to work on bringing water out when they finally got clearance to get them back in. Not fun. It may not have been an hour, but it may have felt like it. So, have you ever gotten stuck on the train or had them do something out of the unusual? And when I mean that, I don't mean they forgot the day of the week. I don't mean Ma said yes. I don't mean that they ate something off the train because, believe it or not, that's all planned. But I mean something where it was very obvious that, okay, we're not moving when we should be. Or we're moving when we shouldn't be. I'd love to hear your story on that. Please share it in the comments below. Thank you so incredibly much to my sponsors, my patrons. They make so much possible, and I couldn't do this without them. If you want to know more about that and the perks that go with it and the behind-the-scenes info and Zoom calls, and check the description below. There's a lot of info there. Thank you so incredibly much for watching. God bless. We had our regular show on the train, but there were definitely... And now she does zoomies. We had our regular show on the train, but there were times that we would change it up because of things that were happening. Gosh, dog. Stop. So if something happened, we had to rely on the engineer to... Okay. Oh, gosh. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions, your ideas. Be sure to share them in the comments below, or you can contact me. There's information in the description that has my email address, fan pages, information about merchandise, and so much more. So be sure to check that out. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, and if you haven't already, hit the button right up there to subscribe. And in fact, if you did enjoy this, I've even got another video for you right here. And also about these wonderful people here, those are my YouTube members and my patrons, the ones whose financial support makes this possible. I couldn't do it without them. If you want to know more about that and the perks that come with it, well, be sure to check the description. There's a link right down there. Thank you so incredibly much. God bless.